and we will rob her back. Now let me see. Is that everything I need? I refer to my mom's recipe. Nana's original granola. And its recipe bits. Oh wait, did I forget to order the coconut? I rummage about in the supply box that arrived this morning until my hands find the bag they're searching for. Phew, coconut shavings are a necessity. Wait, even if I had forgotten them, I'm on an island with an abundance of fresh coconuts. Still getting used to island life. I set the oven to 150 degrees Celsius and leave it to heat up while I measure out the rolled oats. I have quadrupled the quantity so that hopefully it will last the whole summer. It seems vast compared to how much I make at home, but it would be disastrous if I ran out. Homemade granola is absolutely essential. I mix the dry ingredients, oat nuts, seeds and spices together in a large bowl and then add the wet honey and sunflower oil to form a golden moist consistency. I'm actually adding a splash more oil than suggested to make sure I was feeling a bit drier than usual. Next I spread it evenly on a baking tray lined with parchment and wet it in the oven for 20-30 minutes. The smell always drives me crazy. Toasty, warm, homey, I miss my mom. Once done, I add the fruit as it dries and cools and put it into several large glass storage jars, being sure to stuff fistfuls into my mouth as I do. Aw, that's a nice dream, and I was waiting for it to turn into a nightmare. Let's see if we have some light-hearted recons. Oh. Yeah, this isn't a very light-hearted. Actually, this one is the most not light-hearted recon ever. But it's kind of important to the story, so it's fit for YouTube to see, I think. You guys will feel sad. Today is my day off and I'm trying to stay out of sight. The professor doesn't like me being around the camp on my downtime. I don't know why, but he's always pushing me off to explore. I feel he wants time without me around to get on with things he'd rather I didn't see. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but he definitely seems shifty to me. So today I have a plan. It means I have to hang out around until Mr. Marigor does his mid-morning errands, and I'm trying not to be seen. I don't have too long to wait. He's like clockwork. Every day at this time, he leaves the camp carrying a large bag and doesn't return until an hour later. I have offered to help him a couple of times, but I always met with stonewalling. This is the day when I find out what he's up to. I let him get a bit ahead of start, and then I begin to follow. I try to use my new catification properties to my best advantage. Stealth, nimbleness, agility. I'm so much fitter than when I arrived on the island. My eyesight and hearing are fantastic. He's headed into the forest, and as I suspected he would. That makes it so much easier for me to go unnoticed. We travel for about 10 minutes at a good pace into the densest part of the wooded area. Finally, he stopped up ahead and I can see a type of shack covered in creepers and ivy that make great camouflage. You really wouldn't notice the place from any kind of distance. Outside the hut, he bends down, I think he's picking something up, and then he disappears inside. I bide my time, finding a good out-of-the-way hiding space. After a short while, he re-emerges, bends down again, then straightens back up, setting up the way he came. When I'm satisfied that he's not going to return, I gingerly make my way to the shack. Up close, I can see it's sturdier structure than I thought, and that the door is locked. I bend down as he did and start looking for a key. It's pretty obvious. There's a large flat stone in front of me. I lift it a little and slide my finger under the edge. I feel it instantly. I put the key in the lock and take a deep breath. Unsure of what I find there, I open the door. It's dark. There are no windows, just a small skylight letting in enough light to see that there are lamps, obviously powered by solar panels, on the roof. I turn one on. It takes me a moment to understand what I'm looking at. It's dirty and dingy. There are shelves along two of the walls that have cages, and the cages are housing cats. There is an eerie silence. None of the cats are making a sound. I go up to one of the cages to check if they're even alive. Hello, kitty. There's a small cat that I would judge to be 10, 15, 14 weeks old. Its eyes are open but vacant, as though it doesn't see me. Go to the next cage, another youngster and another. My stomach lurches as I realize that those are the kittens from the camp that have been released. No, what are they doing to you? Why are you here? I turn to the other wall and I'm struck dumb by what I see. More small cats, but in different stages of distress. One has an eye bandage, the other eye is weeping with pus, another has most of the fur on its back shaved where there is an open sore, another has a bandaged leg too short as though its paw has been amputated. I begin sweating. Breathing is difficult. I need to get out. I stumble towards the door and fall my knees outside. I gulp in the cool air and try to focus my thoughts. This is the strongest proof so far that there are secret tests being carried out on the cats. Tests that Professor Pauper doesn't want me to know about. Are they all in on it? The marigolds are, obviously, but what about Zane? Do I dare to mention it to anyone? I need more info first. When I gathered myself sufficiently, I re-entered the house and tried to find some paperwork, anything that might explain what's going on in here. I look through the drawers of the filing cabinet in the corner and pull out some of the folders, switch on another lamp to sit on the floor and begin reading. They're experiments, obviously, but for what? The data suggests there's a large number of chemical substances have been tested on the subjects. Instead of the usual catalog of blood and tissue samples tested to evaluate the cats, the data is all related to the chemical compounds. They're what's being tested. Some of the records go way back, years of data. As I put the papers back, I see the waste products bin. I remove the lid and it's almost entirely full of empty ketamine bottles. So that's why there's no sound. These animals are drugged out of all lucidity. I don't know if you can hear me or even if you understand me, but I'm making a promise to you all that I will get you to the bottom of this and I will help you. Whatever it takes, you will be well and free again. Hold tight, kittens. I will be back. I feel terrible leaving them there, but I know it would be foolish to arouse suspicion until I know what I'm dealing with. Make my way back to the camp with a heavy heart, but with fierce determination. We unlocked 12. Maybe we should check 12 out. It's a beautiful day. The sun isn't too hot, which is lucky as I'm going to be walking with Kibbles and McMurphy. They've been excited to show me something for the past week, but this is the first proper break I've had. We're heading further into the forest than I've ever been before. So where exactly are we going, chaps? No idea, Kara. I'm following Kibbles. Huh? I was just following Sally. But you're both in front of me. How could you have been leading? Don't trouble yourself, Kara. We're not in a rush today. Just as I'm about to reply, something catches my eye. I instantly move towards it. From the distance, it looks like black swatches have been cut into the ground. Guys, what's this? Kibbles and McMurphy, who have already wandered off, rejoin me, and the three of us start looking at what appears to be some sort of runway. Skid marks! Ah, of course. I thought it was a runway, but you're right. Well, come on, amigos. Where's your sense of adventure? McMurphy has already disappeared into the thick overgrowth that's shrouding whatever it is that the marks lead to. Oh! Kibbles and I follow the sound of McMurphy's voice and find ourselves in a small clearing. My goodness! Wow, is that a fighter? We're looking at the wreckage of a crashed two-man biplane. Most of it is covered with vines and other forest growth, but the front half at least seems to be mostly intact. This looks like it's been here some considerable time. Strange how we never come across it before, eh, Kibs? Nothing about the silence surprises me anymore. Whoa, maybe we'll see some dead guys. Murph, help me out. McMurphy is silent. He has something in his jaws that appears to be caught in the broken propeller and is pulling on it. Looks like some sort of rag. McMurphy? What's that? McMurphy has freed the cloth and is now sitting with it hanging from his mouth, silent and still as though lost in thought. What's up, Murph? What's with the monkey scarf? I can see it now. It's a scarf. Old and filthy, but it looks like it was once the type of white scarf a pilot would have worn. You okay, McMurphy? What's that, Kara? He's barely present. The scarf, is it important? I'm not sure. Stop being weird, Murph, whispers Gibbs. Shush. It feels like something I should know or remember. Remember? Have you seen it before? Maybe, a long time ago, before here. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Before I came here, Kara, you don't think I was born on this island, do you? Well, you might as well have been, considering how little you remember from before. It's all going, Grandad, fading away to oblivion. Kibble's banter seems to have brought McMurphy back from whatever he was dreaming about, and I'm relieved to see the twinkle return to his eye. Okay then, Mr. Smarty Pants, how did you get here? It's not a very interesting story, and I don't want to bore anyone. Yeah, that's what I thought. Right, Kara, let's go. McMurphy and Kibbles head back the way we came. I stand stunned for a second, watching them go. The guys? But they lost interest. They already moved on. I look back at the wreckage and realize there's nothing I can do here on my own. I have to come back at some point with Fluffy Butt. It's exactly the sort of thing he'll love to help me investigate. The field trip one was very lighthearted, so let's go with that. Professor Popper told me to be ready early and dressed for hiking, as we're doing field work this morning. I'm not sure that I have anything that would pass for hiking gear, to be honest. Some sturdy shoes would be good. Oh well, lab coat and trainers it is then, as usual. A message from the professor lights up on my catalog. Set to go? I'm waiting outside my tent. Ah, Sally! Are you ready for our field work today? Yes, of course, Professor. And may I ask, where are we going? Somewhere I think you'll find very interesting. Professor hands me a backpack. Here, take this bag. It's very full, but surprisingly light. Popper has set off at the brick pace, calling back at me over his shoulder. This way! I run to catch up. After some serious walking, with me struggling to keep up, the professor stops abruptly and listens. Do you hear that? There is a distant sound of bubbling water. We're almost there! Secretly, I'm relieved, as I don't think I could go much further. Just a little climbing. Climbing? I hide my dismay. Where does he get his energy from? It's just at the top there. It's not that difficult to climb as it looks. We're in front of an almost vertical rock face. Just copy me. He climbs up expertedly. I manage to find a spot that will support my foot and start to climb. I make little progress before slipping and falling flat on my bum. I try again. This time I take it slow. Again I fall. What happened to the benefits of catification that the others keep on talking about? The professor notices I'm having trouble and holds a hand out for me. I manage to climb up, just enough to take hold of him, and he lifts me the rest of the way. His strength is impressive. Curious even. Not a fan of climbing, eh? Can't say I've done it much of it, Professor. Come along then, I can get you there. Pretty much pulls me all the way to the top and then leads me to the entrance of a small cave. The sound of running water is very low now. I instantly see why. A natural spring has cut its way through the rock and created a beautiful cascade of sparkling clear water. It looks delicious. I kneel down without thinking and begun to drink. It tastes amazing. As I come up for breath, I see Professor looking at me with suspicion. You should know better. It's never wise under any circumstances to ingest something that is unproven. But here on this island it would be prudent to exercise more caution than usual. I feel embarrassed of my lack of consideration. Yes, of course, sir. I wasn't thinking. I felt so thirsty and it looked so good. I do understand. Many have made the same error. Fortunately for you, this is tried and tested for safe consumption. It's good, don't you think? My body feels suddenly re-energized. I feel like I could climb any wall. It's incredible. I feel fantastic. What's in it? We don't know. That's why we're here. We need more samples. We've been studying this water for months now, and we still know very little about it. Check your bag. I open my bag. It's full to the brim with empty plastic bottles. We'll need to fill all of these with water. We're going to need as much as we can carry. I do as he says. By the time the bottles are full and back in my bag, it weighs a ton, but I feel like I can lift anything. The effect of the water is powerful. The professor has also packed his own stack with bottles. This should do us for now. Let's get those back. So we make our way down the rock face and back to the camp. I have no problem keeping up with the professor. I feel like I could run all the way. However, as we get closer to the home, I start to feel the effect wear off. My bag becomes unbearably heavy. The final limp into the camp is torture. I need to rest. And rest we will. I've decided to catch up on some rest and relaxation like the professor keeps telling me to do so. I've come down to the jetty where Zane usually sits. Today isn't the delivery day, and as I was hoping, he is nowhere in sight. I sit with my legs dangling over the edge and take out my sketchbook and pencils. I haven't done this in ages. It's so peaceful. I can get lost in my own little world when I'm drawing. I tried doing a couple of landscapes, the mountain range in the distance, the trees of the forest, but nothing is really grabbing me. Then as I'm daydreaming, staring into the water, I notice the patterns that the ripples form on the surface. They're unusual, I suppose because of the magnetic pull. The effect is beautiful. I end up sitting for over an hour just trying to capture it on my page. Yay, we're all happy and rested. I'll collect little kittens. It's a sunny afternoon. Most of the cats are lazing on the beach. Perfect, like shooting fish in a barrel. I double check my supply list. Great treats, sedative, snare, catnip, antiseptic cream for myself. Got everything. I have a sick feeling in my tummy, but I ignore it as best as I can. This is going to be a challenge, but I'm pleased the professor is trusting me with more physical tasks. I walk onto the beach feeling like the child catcher. Keep reminding myself that I'm doing this for the greater good, even if it makes me unpopular with the cats. I set up the crate in an unsuspecting location and keep the snare hidden behind my back. At first I stroll around trying to look as casual as possible, whistling a tune as I walk to get close to one of the smaller cats. Start to stroke her, I want this to be as painless as possible. The cat responds well to me, she even starts to purr gently. Are you going to come with me? The cat looks at me with big, wide, loving eyes. Come on then. I pick the cat up, carrying her to the crate, and place her gently inside. I lock it shut, even though the cat makes no attempt to escape. Well, that went better than expected. This may be a good day after all. Emboldened by my success, I approach one of the slightly larger cats. Hey matey, shall we get into the basket? Give him a little stroke. He doesn't respond badly, although he doesn't seem particularly interested either. I put my hands on either side of his body, ready to pick him up. He doesn't look happy about it and growls, warning at me. Hey mister, it's going to be okay. We're going on a little trip, okay? As soon as I start to lift, all hell breaks loose. Yowling and hissing, he scratches my arms to ribbons. I try to get him into the basket, but he stretches out and I can't fit him in. Ow, ow, oh no! I know when I'm defeated and I have to let him go. He scrapers off into the distance. I look down at my ravaged arms. Note to self, wear long sleeves when on caging duty. I'm spending the day examining the cats to make sure that they're all in good shape. Muffin is a little grumpy today, presumably because she's an old lady and she's just been woken up, but otherwise she's doing well. As I replace her in her crate, I can't resist doing the human-cat equivalent calculation. She's 18, so if 1 feline year equals 7 human years, that makes her the grand old age of 126. I know it's nonsense, but impressive anyway. Smokey is being quite vocal this morning, so I grab him next. His hair is a lot more luscious than it used to be. I can't help but run my hand through it. Although it's no longer growing, I can feel how thick it is. Apart from that happy consequence, there doesn't seem to be any other side effects from the drug we tried on him, which is a relief. Further examination shows him to be very healthy indeed, a little bigger and heavier than last time I weighed him. As his other vitals are within normal acceptable range, I give him a small treat and he plods off happily. Who's next then? Suppose I have a free minute? I'm startled by the voice and turn to see the quiet chocolate brown cat from the forest has entered without me noticing. Oh, Bee, you came. Well, I was invited. Of course. Will you let me check you over? I like to update your details on the catalog. Okay. She leaps onto the counter gracefully and I begin the examination. You're in very good condition, aren't you? If you say so, Turntail. Why do you call me that? She ignores the question. Turntail means coward, doesn't it? The journal, the last assistant left, says that you called them Turntail too. I read all about it. What did we do to deserve being called cowards? You tell me. She looks almost sad. Well, I've racked my brains since you first said it, and I really can't imagine. Continue taking her vitals, keeping myself busy to ease the tension between us. You're taking too long. I removed the stethoscope from one of my ears. I'm sorry, Bee. Are you in a rush to be somewhere? Can't quite hide the sarcasm in my voice. Not this. I mean with joining the dots, working it out. Working what out? The connection. I'll wait to understand. Between us! She's becoming more irritated with me, so I tried to put it back by being ultra calm. And what would that be? It's like a red rag to a bull. Well, clearly not your IQ, mastermind. I feel stung. I can't understand why she's so upset with me. There's an awkward silence while I finish checking her over. Sorry. Her voice is not more than a whisper. I beg your pardon? It's not your fault. I just get so frustrated whenever there's a glimmer of hope and it's stuffed out before any progress is made. Although I don't understand, I don't want to interrupt her. She looks so earnest. I've been patient for so long. I'm beginning to forget. Forget what? Time is so... It's so... We mustn't waste it. She looks so small and lost. Look, Bee, I'm really sorry if I did or said something to get us off the wrong foot. I think it would be a real shame for us not to get along. We could be good allies. Important, huh? The word I lost. Time is important. Yes, it is. See, we can agree. Maybe you and I could sit down together and talk about that a little more. Maybe we could. Bee leaps off the examination table and saunters towards the door. I'll let you know, Turntail. She's gone before I can reply. She's one of the old scientists, and her memory's going. Because when you fit a human and a cat, their memory goes. Because cat brain does not support that. If you remember from the fluffy butt, we start turning. I've come to the forest to gather my thoughts. This morning I noticed another change in my appearance. Up until now it's been easy to cover up my transition. I just had to keep on top of removing the excess body hair. Even the stub of a tail that's appeared a few days ago hasn't been a problem. Who would see it? But this new development is definitely a turning point. How am I going to explain the fact that my pupils have turned into vertical slits? Can't risk anyone seeing me like this, so I'm going to hide out for a while and see what happens. Bring some contact lenses. I'm exhausted. Can we stop for a second to catch our breath? You're an old cat. We've only been dancing for an hour. You dance, I'll watch. And she giggles and dances while I recline against the rock in the evening sun. Cooler, but still deliciously warm. How did I get to be so lucky? I look back to when I thought having the virus was the worst thing imaginable, and it makes me smile. The day I decided to throw in the towel and allow myself to become a cat was the first day of a life beyond my wildest dreams. Why would anyone want the antidote? Being a cat is amazing. Being with Trixie is even better. I lazily stretch and slowly fall into a nap. Trix settles beside me, the two of us curled up, Our bliss is only briefly disturbed by the familiar sound of the ferry arriving at the pier. Seems my replacement has already arrived. They'll never look here, though. We know exactly where to stay safe. I wonder if they'll be as fortunate as me. Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. Meow. And the title screen was wrong. This is the Secret Chapter 7. And it is your ending. Guys, the new research assistant has just stepped off the boat. I ran as fast as I could. We already know about their arrival. Had you seen on time for the meeting, you would understand that it doesn't matter anymore. What doesn't matter? I'm afraid you missed the most important point on the agenda, Trix. We've been outvoted. Outvoted? Yeah, sucks to be you. But that's not fair. You can't just vote without me present. Apparently we can. I tried to cause a delay, if that's any consolation, my dear. But I was gathering intel to make the vote more informed. I can assure you that the new assistant looks much more promising than any we had so far. Oh, Kara, you know this plan doesn't work. We got to stop. We've been catifying far too many humans already. It is all rather exhausting doing the same thing over and over, and expecting different results. If you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. But that's ridiculous. The more we try, the greater are the chances of success. Come on, guys, don't quit. 5 minutes before the miracle. What if this is the one? The one who will free us, the one who will figure it all out. Please, I adore you, my dear, but you really are naive. Figure it all out. Forgive my merriment, but it is rather amusing. What's so funny about it? I think what Snooty is saying, Kara, is that humans don't seem able to get the right balance to be of much real help to us. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Who's Jack? It's true, they burn themselves out with work. Or just laze around all day canoodling with the cats. Or make rash choices they can't take back. So we need to help them get the right balance. I cannot give up without a fair shot at it, please. Yeah. I'm with you. I believe if we monitor them more closely, we may have a chance. Murph, you're a gambler. Take one last punt, eh? How can I say no to that angelic face? Hurrah! Revote! Aw, man! Well, can't we just get on with it? I'm missing out on some important beauty sleep. Okay, cast your vote. So many dead people. One of them is not true, though. If I remember, one of them did not die. Joan did not die, I believe. Joan just became a cat alone. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you're interested in this game, you can buy it for yourself. I will be linking the Steam page in the description. I really like it. I hope it has been a pleasant holiday treat for you, and Happy New Year! May 2018 be a wonderful year for all of you.